This week, we're going to attempt to do a video on Eyes Wide Shut, which is no easy task because this is probably the most overanalyzed film directed by the most overanalyzed film director of all time.
Yeah, sure.
You know, it came out shortly after Stanley Kubrick's death, which has long led movie fans to ask the question, was this film released as Stanley Kubrick intended, really?
Right.
You know, was there meddling by the studio because he did die before the film was actually released? Some even go as far as to speculate that Stanley Kubrick was attempting to warn people about elite sex traffickers like Jeffrey Epstein, and that he was subsequently murdered because of this film. I don't know if I believe all that, but Eyes Wide Shut is definitely a very strange movie, and there's something very off about it.
Certainly.
Doesn't really feel on par with Kubrick's other films, and it's kind of odd for a movie that has had such an extensive production, you know, a large budget, big name actors, and a legendary director who's known for being a perfectionist.
Yeah, I mean, all that culminates with, big mystery. Like, was this movie as intended? We can't really even ask him. He's dead, you know? And so, and obviously the studio did make changes to the cut after.
They did do censorship, and
that brings up more questions.
Yeah.
Was this his intention?
I don't know if you saw a few months ago, Roger Avery had a clip that kind of went viral of him talking about Eyes Wide Shut. He has an original production script.
I had a script that was from set. It's missing a third-person narration that was originally in the movie. And that's because the movie was recut and changed after his death. And they will deny it. But as a student of Kubrick, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, well, Kubrick wouldn't do that. Kubrick wouldn't do that either. And Kubrick would have trimmed this scene.
I didn't know they recut it after his death.
Okay, so apparently
I think they finished it.
Well, that's the party line.
That's their version.
That's the party line.
Either way, I'm glad they did, because voiceover can work for like hard-boiled noirs, but this, I feel like more was said by not saying it. Tom's heavy breathing and bad choices made far more cinematic relatability than him being like, I was gonna go do something stupid, you know?
The movie does have an ambiguity to it. And I assume that kind of comes from the fact that there's no voiceover. The pacing of the movie is very off. It feels like it was shot to have a voiceover. And that kind of adds to the whole kind of weird atmosphere of the film. The whole strength of the movie and like what's good about it is the kind of weird atmosphere and ambiguity that it has.
Right.
So
I put your own emotions onto things and kind of think, what is this character thinking? Or what is a relationship, or what are these power dynamics that exist within a married relationship as well as society and secret societies as a whole? So
yeah, the movie, it's like it's very not on the nose. It just has a kind of a weird feeling to it, and also seemingly the way it's shot is lots of practical lighting, everything's lit wide, like Stanley Kubrick likes to do, like almost like documentary style filmmaking. Sometimes this movie looks very cheap. It's like there's something about, and maybe it's from 25 years ago, people didn't see things this way, but there's something about a movie where it's all lit with practicals and it's all Christmas lights in the background that looks very cheap now.
Funny, because I feel like the Christmas light budget on this film probably is on par with a Hallmark film. You know, it's just so over the top. But everything.
Yeah, there's Christmas lights everywhere in the background. And also, it's like a thematic thing with the rainbow, and like there's all this rainbow lighting, and there's always these references to the rainbow. It's something about fantasy or some sort of reference to like Dream World or some shit.
Okay, I can see that for sure.
Again, everything in this movie looks fake. You have to assume it was purposeful.
Well, yeah, I mean, they built a fake New York set in London. The moonlight is so fucking blue.
It's very
fake. Just like very fake. And then like a lot of time outside the window, it's like clearly like a poster of buildings rather than like a real thing. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of like surface level fabrication and fakeness.
Eyes Wide Shut is adapted from the 1926 novella Traumnovelle, which is German for dream story. And the movie does have a very dreamlike feel to it, not only in the look and the lighting, but also it almost feels like it has like a stream of consciousness thing going on with the plot. Where you're like, where is this going and why?
Yeah. I wasn't quite sure at what point in this film we were at.
Yeah. And this isn't me even being critical of the film. I think this is what's like good about the movie.
Sure.
And kind of interesting.
I mean, breaking convention. I mean, look at Stanley's other things and then look at the source material. He typically, it's
always books.
Loosely based upon it.
He changes the setting from turn of the century Vienna to modern day New York City. And it's mostly faithful to the book. It's not really all that different. The original story is of a doctor who embarks on a surreal, sexually charged night after his wife confesses to having fantasies of infidelity, pretty much in line with the film. The original title for the film was actually Eyes Wide Cucked. But in 1999, the Warner Brothers executives were worried that people in the mainstream audience wouldn't understand the cuckold reference, because this was long before the term was popularized by internet culture and ethical non-monogamy.
Of course.
So that was another big censorship thing.
I thought it was Thighs Wide Shut.
Yeah.
Because it's all fantasy infidelity. It never really fucking happened. Maybe some kisses in here and there, but no, it never actually.
I bet Nicole Kidman some people. But anyways, it is very funny, the idea of like Warner Brothers killing Stanley Kubrick to protect pedophiles. It's like...
Yeah, very funny, Gary. Very funny. But yeah. It's wacky.
It's not that wacky. It's like I could see
wackier things happen.
If I was presented with evidence that this actually happened tomorrow, I'd be like, all right, yeah. I enjoyed watching this movie. I do think this is a must-see film if you're a fan of movies in general, but not my favorite of Kubrick's films. I do not enjoy Tom Cruise's performance. Nicole Kidman's performance is also like very strange.
Really?
You didn't think so?
I thought their performances were weird.
I don't think Eyes Wide Shut is bad. It's just probably my least favorite of all the Kubrick movies. And I could totally understand where the conspiracies come from, because Kubrick being murdered by a Hollywood studio for attempting to warn the public about elite sex trafficking is more believable than him just making like a kind of mid-movie.
I mean, but were we really warned about it? I mean, what was warning about it? In fact, watching this, just the idea of this film, I hadn't seen it until now, but I was under the impression that it was really just nonstop group sex scenes. I was like, I'm ready for just nonstop orgies, the whole movie, and then all the weirdness that comes with that, There's
not really that much.
No,
and
exactly.
I mean, if you want to get into the orgy scenes, the sex in this movie looks extremely fake. It's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
It looks so pantomimed and fake. These two women are like 69ing, but they're both wearing masks.
They're both wearing masks, right?
It just
you
looks so fake.
You can't do anything with a mask. You can't eat pussy through a mask.
One of the funniest details of the orgy scene is probably the human furniture. The guy who's on all fours.
Pretty cool. That makes it comfortable. There's a lot of nice, comfortable couches around. But again, it's a power play. Yeah. And I think it's really not about the sex. The sex is a demonstration of power more than it is like about the sex. Sex isn't the ultimate goal. It's about secrecy, ownership, and that's it.
How did the prostitutes know the ritual? Did they have to do like a pre-orgy rehearsal? Did they have to shadow one of the prostitutes at a previous?
I don't know if it's their first orgy.
Yeah, sure.
They might be regulars, and this is just what they do.
But there had to be some sort of training before they're put into circulation, because this is a coordinated thing. With all types of subtlety.
They do the right nod at the right time.
Like, you can't just grab any prostitute off the street, put a mask and a cloak on her, and she wouldn't, intuitively know all the cues. Yeah.
The cues, right? Kissing with the masks and doing all these things. And meanwhile, chanting some sort of Hindu, religious text or something.
I believe what they're doing is they're playing church music backwards, which is also confusing as fuck, because how is the piano player blindfolded playing music backwards?
Backwards doesn't make any sense. You're right.
I don't really see too much substance in the conspiracy theories around this. I don't really see a lot of similarities between Eyes Wide Shut and Jeffrey Epstein. I could believe that Stanley Kubrick heard about the Bohemian Grove, and that was possibly an inspiration.
What's it?
The Bohemian Grove, it's like this thing in Northern California where a bunch of like rich guys get together and like do weird rituals and cremation of care ritual, and they burn a big statue of an owl. And they all like jerk each other off, probably. Okay. Just speculating on that part.
Burning Man with less hippies.
I want to say like it's Burning Man for rich people, but Burning Man's just kind of become Burning Man for rich people. So yeah, it's just like it's an elite Burning Man. In the year 2000, Alex Jones and Ron Swanson broke into the Bohemian Grove and like filmed footage of it. That was the year after this movie came out.
Oh, okay, wow.
Rich people dressing up and doing weird shit is a kind of a thing. At the end of the day, you could tell this movie is a work of fiction because the elites in this film like having sex with adults.
Except those two Asian businessmen.
There's a lot of weird shit going on in Eyes Wide Shut. I see why people are like, oh, this is something about something.
It's got to be something about something, because it can't just be about nothing. It was a good thriller. Like I was intrigued the whole time. It was mysterious, and I didn't know where it was going, as we stated. But at the same time, I don't think it was as hard hitting as I was expecting. You know, I was really expecting to come away from this movie and be like, oh man, I really got to think about everything. You know, I really got to question Hollywood and the elites, and really, it didn't make me do that. And so, because of that, I think. It's good. It's good, and it's really, again, loaded. But I'm gonna give it like 3.5 stars.
You're saying after watching this, your eyes were wide shut?
My eyes were shut wide.
You didn't open your eyes to the pedophile cults?
No, I already knew about that shit.
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily warned of anything in this film, so I don't really buy the conspiracies. At no point did it say point. In fact, the point was anonymity. You know, it's not like, oh, check out Bill Clinton, the leader of the sex cult. It was like, hey.
It'd be really funny if there was just one guy at the party who was like, obviously just Bill Clinton in a mask. I'm glad we're anonymous here. I'm about to fuck some whores.
Someone give him a sack.
Hey, just between you and me, I hope they're underage. That would have been good.
That would have been good.
Hey, what's up, brother? You want to fuck a girl on my back? You fuck her on my back, and then I'll fuck her on your back. The film opens with the Harfords attending a Christmas party that's thrown by Dr. Harford's rich patient Victor Ziegler, who's played by Sidney Pollack. And at the party, the couple are separated and they each have flirtatious encounters. Bill flirts with two models while his wife is aggressively hit on by this older Hungarian man. He's like sniffing her chair and like drinking her wine. Dr. Harford is interrupted by the staff at the party, and he's brought to Ziegler, who's with this naked woman, seemingly a sex worker, who's nearly overdosed on heroin and cocaine. And she almost dies. Dr. Harford is able to help the woman and, save his rich friend. And this is your first kind of peek into the world of elites and their perverse behavior. After the party, there's a scene of Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise making out nude to Chris Isaac's Baby Did a Bad Thing. Baby Did a Bad Thing. Which isn't something you'd expect in a Kubrick movie. It feels a bit too contemporary and out of place amongst the score of classical music. This is truly the strangest thing in Eyes Wide Shut. Why 70-year-old Stanley Kubrick connected so much with this song? You know what it is?
What?
Well, people talk a lot about like old man strength, but they never talk about being old man horny. The following night, Bill and Alice smoke marijuana, and Alice shocks Bill by confessing to fantasizing about having sex with other men, and that she even considered leaving Bill and their daughter for a naval officer. This upsets Dr. Harford, who then visits a deceased patient's daughter who attempts to seduce him. And this kind of mirrors the previous scene, where not only, it's about the hidden desire of women, but Alice brought up the idea of female patients being with him and fantasizing about sex with him and whatnot.
Which understandably, from his point of view, it's like, no, they're women, and I'm checking their breasts. It's a clinical place. There's a nurse. It's nothing sexual. But yeah, there could be some reciprocal lust towards him that he's just not picking up on.
Well, this realization that women are capable of infidelity kind of leads Dr. Harford on his own search for infidelity. Tom Cruise is walking around New York City all pissed off. It's fake New York. It's him walking on a fucking treadmill with rear projection or whatever. Asshole Stanley Kubrick had to shoot all his movies in England. I think Kubrick just didn't like to leave his routine. Mm-hmm. He was just so set in his ways and wanted to do everything the same way.
Or worried about the sexual elites in America.
Yeah. He didn't want to go to New York and get murdered by Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
I've heard he just didn't like to fly, which maybe that sounds kind of like a excuse that he would tell the studio executives.
So he pretty much lived in England then, and he shot all movies.
Yeah, I think he moved to England like after he did 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he was in England for a long time, and all those movies in the 80s were shot in England, right?
Even
I think The Shining, they did exteriors in Colorado or something. Okay. But I know Full Metal Jacket is completely shot in England, and they built all the sets and shit over there. Which is easier to build those sets,
yeah, I guess so.
Than build New York City. Yeah. But I don't think it's a good approach to filmmaking, really. I guess it's interesting, and if you let somebody just kind of do things their own way, you're going to end up with something that's a little bit more unique and out of the regular way of doing things, which that might be the strength to it. But I think it's kind of a huge mistake for Kubrick.
Control.
Maybe, yeah.
On set?
I think he liked being far away from the studios, so they couldn't fuck with him.
Sure.
Just in another country.
We say, hey, you can't do 75 takes. We have to move on. It's like, all right, we'll do 100 more takes.
To create images
映
is
像はいつも
always a
可
challenge.
能性への挑戦だ。
Digital magic.